Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hermitcraft. I have some good news to deliver. You've probably heard this already on other Hermits channels, but we have elected a mayor of the commercial district. And so if you cast your mind back an episode or two, we placed a vote, right? And those votes were tallied up by Grian. He did the vote counting. There were actually two positions. One of them was the dog catcher role, which Joe Hills was running for, and running unopposed, he won the vote, and he pledges to remove all these wild dogs from the server. The other vote was for the mayoral role, so again, Grian tallied up all the votes. We put them in one by one so we could sort of see it visually live, and Good Times with Scar has won the vote. Now, you know that's not who I voted for, but the reality is it didn't really matter who you voted for. We were going to win either way, because having someone as a mayor of this area is just going to be so fantastic for its development and taking it in a direction and unifying all these bills and overhauling all of the mycelium and ugliness. It really didn't matter who won. It's a win all around.
Congratulations, Scar. I think it's time for you to sit on the throne. Take up the diamond throne. It's all yours.
Yeah. And so the newly elected Scar took his rightful place upon the throne of diamonds. Look at all of them. What on earth are we going to do with all those diamonds? Well, the fate of them is in Scar's hands now. Now I'm going to make a little bit of a prediction here. I think months from now, you'll see it in Hermit's videos, just finding these maps everywhere. I mean, so many of them have been spanned. They're just going to be popping up from time to time. And one of the first things Scar ordered us to do were to clean up these maps from the commercial district. So we ran around like headless chickens, punching them all out, and I managed to get 4 of them. However, I need 2 additional ones to fill up the wall over here, where we're going to keep them as mementos, because I got the Get Gorgeous one twice. Somehow, there's 2 different types of these. So we need a Mumbo for Mayor map and a Joe Hills for Dog Catcher. Speaking of which, could someone please inform Joe there is a pack of stray dogs hanging out over here at my portal? I don't mind their company, to be fair, but there is a lot of them. And speaking of portals, I have been hard at work on this project, which I've realised is far from unfinished, because I've got some great ideas on how to increase the drops that we are getting from this. Okay, I tucked away this gold, and this is after 14 hours of being AFK, and if you think that's good or bad, the capacity will now be doubled. That's right, those portals up the top there are lit, and when I was AFK they were not, and that is because I have figured out how to get the zombie pigmen to fall down into this bottom area safely. The problem is, if we repeat the same design, they can move forward as they fall down and land on the turtle eggs. We don't want that, of course. And so what we have now is 4 sets of trapdoors. We need 2 of them here, because if it's 1 high, the zombie pigmen will actually jump over it and get to the turtles, and then we need 2 down below so that they don't push outwards and then fall on top of the turtle eggs down below. And if I'm remembering it correctly, I didn't build the item collection system until after I'd uploaded my episode, so this is probably new to you. It's just a minecart going back and forth and the items get unloaded over here. But we might be ripping this out because I want to expand this farm in 2 ways. One will be pretty obvious, which is to add a weapon. Little tip for you right there. It won't make them aggressive. They won't come after you. So the better strategy is to disable some of the portals so that they go to the other side. That means we're still farming gold while we're working on this drop shaft right here. It goes far enough down that we can actually add another set of portals, and this means all the pigmen won't actually take any damage coming into the water streams. So it's going to lead them down to this central point right here, and then there is me, AFK, swinging my sword over and over again, and that's how we use the looting effect. And then down below we got some hoppers to pick up the items and put them into the chests. So testing time was upon us. Just wanted to go over to the other side of the farm and dig out the space going down to the bottom where the water is, so that we could have the pigmen come in from both sides. And then I went up top and actually lit all of the portals so that we were ready to do a test, and this just worked beautifully straight away. Zombie pigmen flowing in, no problems whatsoever. But then you'd know it, wouldn't ya? That's right, I got killed by a baby piglin. Well, design oversight, we needed to add some slabs to stop the babies getting out, And now I'm just worried, can I actually get all the way over there and get my items back? Because, I don't know, the jungle can be hostile terrain, especially at night. And of course it would be night time. And here's the thing, my items are inside of my storage area. There's nothing over here at the portal that can really help me get across. I should like add an emergency elytra and rockets or something. I never plan on dying, basically. And now there's a skeleton on my backside. Oh, it's all gonna go wrong now. It's all gonna go wrong. Oh my word, there is skin on my teeth. There's a creeper in my way. I need some blocks. Wait, maybe I can jump up from here. Oh, okay. Whew. That was lucky. Right, let's get down here and grab my items. And the piglins shouldn't be angry at me anymore because I died. And that's the way that that works. So we've gotten all of our gear back. Well, isn't that just terrific? And I had golden carrots in my offhand. They seem to have making their way into here. So I guess it was possible for some of my items to go through that gap, which we need to arm with slabs. And this was very fortunate timing for me, because I was literally about to leave the computer and go AFK for a little bit. So I'm glad I spotted that. Less than an hour later, and we have 53 of these gold blocks, which is just ridiculous. And what's even crazier is that our storage system got filled up to the brim, and we probably wasted a bunch of gold drops coming into here. This thing is gonna be phenomenal, and it can even be upgraded further, which is just bonkers, right? But also